According to Missouri, the website, University of Missouri. So 23-24 school year, tuition and fees, $14,122 to $17,722, depending on if you're 12 to 18 credits. Estimated housing and dining, $13,550. So the total estimated, this is for in-state, by the way, total estimated build costs, essentially $28,000 to $31,000.
Okay, $30,000.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money, dude. God dang.
That's for Missouri residents.
You're getting out of college and you're
when I went to Emerson College for my year, I had some Pell Grant and I had some little stupid scholarship that wasn't anything. It still cost me $28,000. Think how many years ago that was.
Oh, my God, dude.
It was somewhere in the neighborhood of $28,000. So I ended up transferring, going to Geneseo, which was a state school, which was literally a third of the cost.
I mean, how bad is that, though? Like, you come out of school and you're $150,000 in debt. Right when you start getting started in life, you have this black cloud over you.
But you also...
I mean, I don't know.
Kids also have to have some guidance to think about what's efficient in terms of using their money.
Yeah.
If you come from a rich family and you want to go major in communications or interpretive dance, and you might not get return on your money if you're going it alone, you probably don't do it. If you come from a wealthy family, you do it. It doesn't matter.
Well, what's the best in return on your money going to college? Like,
by the way, out of state, I can't believe this. Out of state is $51,500.
Dude.
That's on the University of Missouri website. I can't believe that. I never thought it was that much.
$200,000 right off the bat. Right when you start getting started in life. Damn.
That's why instead of the give back, they should have zero or like really small interest, right? It shouldn't be about making money on the loan. You're making the next generation smarter, and that's better for the country. There's a difference between we're going to cancel it, where taxpayers are paying for it, but how about fixing the problem and making it more affordable by just wiping out interest?
4.8%.
What's the most expensive school to go to?
Well, I just looked up Harvard because I'm curious. Harvard, I look at, is this right? I'm seeing $79,500 for academic year 23-24.
So only 20,000
more than Mizzou.
Are you kidding? To go to Harvard?
For out of state. This is on the Harvard website.
Damn.
Tuition is $54,000 for Harvard.
Oh man.
But I think room and board was like $5,000 when I went to college. Dude, we paid $110 a month. We had 7 people living in a house, totally against zoning. I think we paid $800 a month. So whatever 800 divided by 7 is, it's like 110.
That ain't bad.
Oh, we were all like the guys that were on scholarship. They were profiting off that because they got a certain stipend for their room and board, and it was way less than what they got.
So is Stanford more expensive to go to than Harvard? I'm curious.
I don't know. I think some of these like law schools and might be more.
What are you gonna say, Jimmy?
Emerson College, where I went, is now $52,000. Boston University, where I almost went, $59,000, almost $60,000.
God, dude, it's like, man.
Stanford.
Why does it cost that much?
I don't know.
88.
You're just behind the 8 ball right when you want to get started with life.
And the truth is,
dude,
all these schools, I'll say it again, are sitting on endowments, some of $1 billion, and you're raising tuition. I don't
know. Like, it depends on what your kid wants to do. Like, I don't think it's fair to force the kid to, unless the parents are paying for it. But, like, if you're not paying for it, you have to go to college. You have to do it. And they go there, they got $200 in debt.
I think it's much better to go to college.
They drink a lot and sleep around, so.
I know.
It's a fun 4 years or 5.
But don't you also,
maybe
don't
7
you kind of,
if you're a doctor?
I just think it's also, regardless of a major, like people that are college graduates tend to make more money. That's not everyone, but tend to make more money. But also, you kind of develop who you are in a safe space before you're set out into the real world. I think that's a positive thing, too.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that expensive. How can that be?
I don't know the numbers on this, but I do think there are more young people. Like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, maybe it's just because I see more of this on social media, but I see more people that instead of going to college, to get a business degree, they're at 18 starting a business.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And they could go on the internet and learn about business.
I love that.
They could read anything they want on the internet. Anything they want. They could do their own research, guide their own way, and it doesn't cost any money.
And there's a lot of, I mean, all these people who are, great entrepreneurs, they all have podcasts. They all give this information away for free.
Yeah.
On YouTube, podcasts.
How are your professors at school? Do you get along with them? Or is there any times where you're like, what is this dude talking about? And anytime you counter him, he kind of shun you? Anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I had a great college experience. I loved my communications professors. I loved my history professors.
Oh, I'd love to go to that.
History was by far, I loved going to learn about history.
I would love that too.
I truly did.
Anything else, I'm like, ay. But history, oh yeah.
Even back then, I wish I would have listened more in class instead of just getting by.
I know.
Like I loved college, but I didn't love the classroom work. I didn't love my communications professors. What if we started
our own
as
college
a business? Hot Take Central University.
Yes, like Trump
I
did.
would. Like the interruption department, I would chair that.
Yeah. Coughing.
I was
I think
bad
that's
today.
Cam.
Evaporating.
Well, you had a bad episode too, but at least you left.
I left. How about Pure Hatred? That'd be
There you
cool.
go.
Yeah.
The College of Hatred over
How much
here.
was yours again? Your college a year.
It was about 21.5,
That's not bad.
I think.
And then if we had a football team, Charlie could move the goalpost.
Yes.
So we have it all.
That was really good.
That's you, buddy.
We have it all set up.
The goalpost.
You could have Strawman University.
Oh yeah.
So wait, did you commute?
Yeah, the back half of
So
college.
that saves you 10.
Yeah, COVID basically sent me home. So for the back half of college, I was at home.
By the way, I know we're in all the media world, so I understand this is not a huge portion, but if my kid wanted to do media, I would just be like, all right, in high school, start your YouTube, start your podcast. Don't you think they'd be better off, honestly?
Yes.
In 4 years, I understand you don't have the piece of paper, but in 4 years of them making the mistakes themselves while they're making money for 4 years, and business school, these kids I'm talking about, there's this kid locally who has this junk removal business. And I don't even know if he went to college. He might have. I'm not sure. But my point is, you can go to business school. And by the way, if you go to UVA business school, there's a lot of value in that.
Okay.
But there's also a lot of value in starting your business and making all those mistakes on your own while still making money.
Depends who you are.
Well, but that's
Depends
everything. But that's this gets back to our previous debates. It's about personal accountability. The guy who works hard and makes good decisions is going to succeed, regardless if he went to college or she or not. The person who's a screw up is probably going to fail if they go to college or don't. It's about personal responsibility. It's about making good choices and working hard.
And listening and asking questions and, doing the right thing.
You know what was great at college? I don't know about you. You go to dinner with your buddies like me, fraternity guys, and you all go together.
Oh, yeah.
And you talk about everything you see.
It's great.
I mean, outside of the parties, that was one of the greatest things.
I get that.
At what point in life do you think that you start to develop that mindset as to which path you're going to take as far as hardworking or partying or whatever? At what point do you think that's kind of in the forefront for people?
I think
13?
it's for different people, though. I mean, I have no problem with people who screw off in their 20s. I did that. But at some point, listen, man, I feel sorry. I have empathy and sympathy for anyone that's struggling. But if you're going to tell me you can't succeed, especially the argument we had a couple weeks ago about that generation of people, I feel much worse for your generation. But if you're going to tell me for 45 straight years you couldn't succeed, to me, you didn't work hard, you didn't make good decisions. I'm sorry.
100%.
There are late bloomers. I'm going to give you my story, and this is true. It was always in me to work. I partied a lot. I mean, I was a different guy back then. But I had shifts at the campus radio stations and TV stations, and I don't care if there was the greatest party ever or everyone was going uptown for happy hour. If I had a shift, I was going to be at my shift, and a lot of people didn't. I just think early on you kind of got to develop that.
Yeah.
The importance of working and sticking to what you're supposed to be doing.
When did you realize that you had to kind of get that mindset? You had to get yourself in shape. What taught you that lesson?
It wasn't a lesson. Maybe my dad. My dad always said, be on time.
The reason I'm asking,
Be on time.
Youth
be
sports
prepared.
didn't teach this, is what I'm getting at. You learn this stuff in college. You learn this stuff.
I learned it when I was young.
Yeah.
High level athletes are different. I always left room for that.
I wasn't born a high level athlete.
You became
I wasn't born a high. I had to learn how to be one.
Charlie.
That's
I was just born.
Your
Charlie.
argument is so poor. Let me tell you why your argument is poor.
Well, he didn't even really. I mean, he said one sentence.
No, but he picked on my thing.
The worst sentence ever.
He picked on my thing and said, "See, you didn't learn that in sports, so your point was validated that you don't learn it in sports." That's just one part of it. I can honestly tell you that when I didn't play as a player on junior varsity basketball, where I felt I should have played, I was going to quit. I was unhappy. My dad told me to stick it out, and my coach told me, "You work harder, you'll get playing time." And I kind of learned sometimes you don't get to make decisions, but you have to live with them, and it's how you react to those decisions. Now, the moral of the story is I still never played, but I did kind of learn that, guess what? You don't make the call in life sometimes, and you have to it's how you react to things. That was one I learned.
Okay,
is that a bad lesson?
But over the course of time, I think, again, we're talking about people, if you've worked 40 to 45 years, you have to really make a lot of poor decisions in a row. Again, everybody screws off in their 20s. I think at some point, if in your 30s, in your 40s, you don't start thinking about the big picture.
This is
again in your 40s.
Again, to pull it back to another callback, this sounds like it's teetering on. It's really hard to not be a millionaire at 60.
Did you see the latest Fed report?
Of course I did not.
Okay. You should look at that.
Okay.
We're talking about net worth. My point more so is it comes down to personal responsibility.
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
That was my argument.
And I think you
can't tell me if you're in the greatest generation for earning in the history of the United States. Of course there are going to be people that struggle. Of course. But for the most part, like, you can't tell me for 40, 45 years. I get it. We all make mistakes. Everybody drinks and, you're single, you're spending your money, you're wasting your money. Everybody does that in your 20s, hell, even in your 30s. But if you're telling me that age 40, 45, 50, 55, you never once looked at the big picture, I'm sorry. Like, it comes down to personal accountability.
I also think
it comes
there are
down to
people
making the right choices
that don't have opportunities to make a lot of money and still work hard. And you could do that and still never get ahead, especially if you have a family. I'm not trying to argue with you again. I just think it's ignoring.
I did not see that for the baby boomer generation
I'm just
that
saying,
I grew up around at all.
I think it's ignoring a lot of hardworking people that are just getting by, taking care of their families.
It's not.
Who are not going to have $1 million.
No. It's acknowledging that those folks had we're talking people that didn't go to college, that were working union jobs, that were on the assembly line, that were making $80K, $100K, pensions. That was the entire argument. And I'm telling you, if you look at the latest Fed report, the net worth of that group went up 48% from 2019 to 2022. That was the whole point. It was not a critique, actually, on the current economy. That's my point, is like, I feel bad for your generation because you're walking into a lot of things that generation, even my generation, benefited from a lot of this. Like, my college didn't cost, if I would have went to Mizzou, $55K out of state? Are you kidding me? Bradley was a private university. I could go for 20, and they were giving out scholarships.
$55,000. Damn, dude. I 100% learned to be on time from youth sports. If we showed up late, coach would make us run till we got tired. Barry McCockiner. Yeah, I know. No, like, just little things like that add up. Without youth sports, I'd be laying in a gutter, strung out on every drug imaginable with HIV, Volvo. Yeah, me too. I would be
HIV.
Too. I probably.
But now is that even a
Little
thing?
League baseball saved you from drugs?
How do you know he just played Little League baseball?
I just think you had a bad attitude.
He had a terrible attitude, man.
You don't find the average
just
person,
chirping.
The average youth baseball player rooting against their own team in the dugout.
You're an oddball when it comes to that, dude. You are. You didn't like it. You didn't appreciate it. You didn't like your teammates. You were down and out.
Correct.
You bitched at them under your breath the whole time.
You evaporated.
And then you stopped, and then you got on the radio, and now you bitch at everything else.
I focused during the games.
No, you
they
didn't.
were all
No, you didn't. You didn't even enjoy playing.
They made up a language
You're so
in the
obsessed
dugout.
with
They
sports.
made up a language.
You're so obsessed with sports, and you didn't like playing.
I think
You
I agree
didn't
with
like
that.
playing.
I think you did not enjoy playing.
He didn't. He didn't like the competition.
I loved
he didn't.
playing football despite not being good. I didn't love playing baseball despite actually being kind of good at that.
How can you? I'm just curious. How can you not like I understand baseball. For example, I was a catcher. So sometimes that's hard. But how can you not enjoy walking to the batter's box with a bat? Trying to freaking hit the ball. Like, that's the funnest thing on earth.
I couldn't stop playing with the kids the other day.
I didn't love offense. I actually like defense better.
He didn't like it.
But you don't like going up there and just trying to go yard?
No. He wants to wait till after the game and tweet stuff
What is
out.
it about defense that you like? You were a catcher, correct?
I was a catcher.
So you like the collaboration,
the strategy
with your pitcher, which is teamwork, which you learned because I think you're a good teammate. And maybe there's lessons you can't identify.
I like strategy. I like trying to put together game plans, and so that kind of goes into catching with pitch sequences. Also, being a catcher is cool because I can see the entire field, so I kind of know everything that's going on. I like the challenge of trying to throw a runner to second base, and by God, my buddy Andrew robbed me of like 19 or 20 caught steals because he's screwed up the tag at second base a million times.
Just dropping them?
It's his fault.
No, so he would catch it.
You hit him in the dirt there? You throw him in the dirt?
No, he would
one hopper.
He would catch it and then he'd hold it and try to find the runner, and then he'd go for the tag. I'm like, dude, just get it and then instinctively put the glove right in front of the base, and it's gonna be a lot quicker.
His body language.
Did you call him out on the
body language?
Did you call him out on the field?
I bet he did.
Andrew, you cheap joker!
Come on!
Did you call him out during games?
Come on!
Did your body language shrink? Like
100%.
There was one.
I got to do everything myself.
My body language shrank. There was one time that my coach did have to tell me. He goes, "Hey, we're not trying to show up our teammates here."
You're awful.
That was one time.
See, these are lessons that were on the table for you to take and put in your pocket, and you refused to.
There it is. There it is. Wow. It's because I mean, it's just weird because you love sports so much. I mean, your whole world revolves around sports.
Yeah.
You're on sports radio. When you could be doing other things, and because you love sports, but you just don't like playing them. You don't like the team. You don't like the team stuff. You don't like any of that.
I think it goes beyond that. Like, one of the great lessons that was presented to you was, as a team, you win together or lose together, and you refused to take that.
No wonder
lesson.
he didn't.
I don't think it's a lesson. Corporate America is not win together, lose together. It is.
That's capitalism, baby.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about here. It's a life lesson that you learned on the field of baseball.
But I think
and you ignored it, and now you're going to blame corporate America, which seems like a course at Strawman University.
I think actually
taught by you
with Professor Hayes.
Isn't that a straw man? You bring up corporate America. We're not debating
corporate
that.
America.
Was there a lesson to be learned?
What was the corporate America piece? Because I do think on this show we need to allow people to, after the first sentence, elaborate on their point. So what were you saying about corporate America?
My point was, you should have learned the lesson about teamwork. We win together, we lose together. I'm like, is that how the real world works? Or is everybody just trying to get by for themselves?
A little bit of both.
Oh, yeah.
And so me trying to get by for myself was me actually preparing for the real world, if you think about it.
Okay.
This
is the work from home argument right now. You're having the go into work versus work from home argument, which is going on all across America right now.
Did you make your point? Because I don't want to interrupt.
I know.
I'm going to bring it closer to home. Your attitude of what's in it for me, sure, got Seth out of here and got you in that seat. But now
Seth and Nate, jeez.
But now you're part of this. Unless you're gunning for one of our jobs.
Of course he is.
We as a dais are going to win together or lose together.
That's true.
And you're basically saying, ain't no team in coal.
That's interesting.
Isn't that?
That's a good point. Because I hate to say when Ken makes a good point, but that's a good point.
Because the truth is, you're taking something out there that we're not dealing with, but we deal with this every day, and there is a team element. And Charlie and I will fight. Cam and I will slap fight once in a while, but we're a team. We all understand that. We're in it together. And you seem to be the one member of the dais who doesn't buy into that.
Evaporating.
Spitting and spatting.
I think everybody likes to be a part of a team until things go wrong, and then hey, you gotta prepare for yourself. I don't know.
No,
things are fine now.
Some people like tennis. That's the thing. He's a tennis guy. It's all about just one person.
That's right.
One-on-one, mano-a-mano.
And
wants
he's a
himself.
pickleballer.
Yep.
He's playing both of his aunts.
Cole sounds like Giselle blaming other players. Disgusting, the vulva.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't believe we were even having this conversation.
The most important thing I learned in Little League was not how to hit a curveball, but to be a leader.
I don't want them shallow hose.
That's true also.
That's very true.
But that's one of the reasons people go to college. It's $55,000. But there's a lot of that there.
Yeah, it's true. I'm 50 years old, and all my peers were average students at state colleges, and almost all of us are making $300,000 a year or more at this point in our lives. But we all took responsibility and worked hard. 314.
I'll give credit to Seth there. Yeah, he's the guy that you got to go to.
Is Randy going to show up Saturday?
Doubt it.
No, he's a performance artist, and it's about the calling.
Has he been calling lately?
Yeah.
He called the day a couple of times while we were rolling, so I just let him on hold.
Well, he has an
Like,
agenda.
very
He has
long
like
time.
5 other shows to call.
Yeah.
So
With
it's
different voices.
If you don't get him,
with different names.
This is my
names.
Chargers take. You're not going to interrupt it.
Morning, boys. It's also about trade schools as well. The trades are in such high demand. There is a plumbing company in PNW that are paying $100K plus because of lack of workers and amount of work. It's getting your hands dirty, but you could pay cash for school if you wanted to later or online as you work. Shane from Washington State.
100%.
Your show is the only show I even listen to. I know I scanned some other shows, but they sound like they're putting me to sleep or I'm going to a nursing home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Nursing home.
that gets back to, I understand there's always outliers. Growing up where I grew up, it wasn't like everybody went to college. You know, maybe
Me
a
either.
third.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my street. A lot of cops, a lot of
Military.
some military, but like pipe fitters, people that work. Yeah, there were some people that went to college, but I'm telling you, like that generation, my parents, they're 74 and 70. And there were a lot of dudes who had really good paying union jobs and pensions and did not go to college. And I 100% agree with that take. Not everybody's meant for college. One of my best friends, he went to University of Toledo. So he was with us, played baseball, never loved school, started out, went to UT. Then he said, man, this isn't for me. Immediately, as like a 19-year-old, started working on the railroad. Was killing it.
Yeah.
Within a couple years, making really great money.
Yeah.
Still to this day, those guys sometimes are able to retire after 20, 25 years. If you're a Theo Vaughn guy, you probably watched The Garbage Man. Did you watch that one?
Not yet.
Okay, it's not that great. But this dude in New York, you take the city test to figure out, you're going to be a cop, you're going to be sanitation, whatever. This dude's talking about garbage men. Now, he's our age. He retired after 20 years. He's making $100K as a garbage man. He goes, dude, if you wanted overtime, if you wanted to work shifts, you could make $200K.
Yeah, dude. You could. The more you work, the more you get paid.
And
you have
I
the
know,
option.
listen, we all go to the drive-through and all that. The service, we all know it's worse than it's ever been.
Yeah.
But that's also the folks, my buddies that I talk to that hire or run companies. They go, Charlie, if you are a hard worker and you show up, you'll never make more money than right now. Yep. Because to have somebody who shows up and works hard is freaking gold dust.
A guy that's on time all the time.
And then that person, if they want to leave, there's a lot of people that want to hire them.
I know.
But then you got to keep them. You got to pay them more.
Exactly. Yep.
sometimes at
Exactly
Krispy
right.
Kreme, they don't have enough people to get the donuts, and they just fall off the conveyor belt onto the floor in a big
Can I
pile.
say something about garbage men real quick?
Sanitation engineers, he called it.
Okay. Why do I see them working without gloves on?
That's a good point.
Do you notice that too?
I did not.
I'm like, damn. No gloves?
Can I say, real quick story?
Okay.
Our Glendale guy, who unfortunately passed away. There were a lot of, you can look this up. There were local news stories on this guy. Probably the most beloved person in Glendale by far was this guy, Patrick, the garbage man. I bet you this dude during Christmas, the amount of money he probably made in tips was insane. And then also, he was such a nice guy. I don't even know the rules of garbage in terms of what you're supposed to throw away. But my point was, he worked with everybody. Everybody loved him. So, hey, if you had to get rid of a large item, I don't know if that was allowed, but there was always a tip involved. And I'm telling you, this dude crushed it.
Oh, yeah, we've done that.
Like at Christmas, he's putting the envelope on your garbage can, giving you your Christmas card. Dude, people were giving him $50 tips, $100 tips.
Because he worked and he was nice.
No, he was the hardest worker and nicest guy. He said hello. When the kids were coming by, he honked the horn. He waved. Every kid.
Simple.
Honest to God, I could not tell my daughter that Patrick passed away. Because he went away. It's a tragic story. You can look this up.
Yeah.
But he went away for a surgery. He ended up passing away. And we just, Like my daughter, hey, it's still the blue truck. I could not tell her because these kids loved waving, honking. He came out. I'm just saying working hard. People that work hard, man, if you work hard long enough, you'll get paid off.
I played 2 extra years probably because of just working hard, doing the right thing, Good attitude. My niece was an Ole Miss for 2 months for pharmacy school before she changed her classes because she wanted to be a realtor now. The education system sucks. Cray cray.
How old's your niece that went to Ole Miss, just out of curiosity?
Good question. Very good question, Cole.
Someone said you could become a realtor in like 3 months.
I have
Like
no
you
idea.
can-
It's a lot of work though, man. It is. Like you got to be, you got to be on the ball. They need you somewhere. You got to go meet them. You got to do this. Like it's weekends. They need you,
Yeah, I would not do this.
It's tough. It's tougher than you think. But Cam and Cole should play a game of hot hands to see who has quicker reflexes. It's a game where they both put their palms together, and the guy on the bottom tries to smack the guy's top hand. Whoever has the quickest reflexes will swing the bat faster and will determine who will be a better hitter. That's stupid. Hockey
Remember that
ball.
game? That was a fun game.
I think they just want to see Cole get his hands hit.
He doesn't want to touch my nasty ass
Probably.
hands.
Cam doesn't let anybody touch his hands.
No, man.
He just
They're
fist bumps.
gross. Sweaty and stuff, I don't like my hands.
I think you have fine hands, Cam.
They're big and, big. That's it. Big and sweaty is what
What
they
do
are.
you want out of your hands?
Not to be sweaty.
All right, aside from that, they're big hands.
That's it.
They
lift-
lift, they
they
lift
lift
big
weights.
weights.
They lift a lot of weights.
There you go.
Hundos.
I could grab a guy and
They could
ragdoll him,
they could throw a dip in when you need
throw
it.
you in,
Mike
Right?
Rupp.
So they do the job.
Fight Mike Rupp.
fight Mike Rupp 15 times off the face-off. I also work with a lot of incompetent people that make a ton of money who can barely tie their shoes, let alone ever play an organized sport, and they do just fine. Crick, crick.
100%. And also on the other side of that, the same guys I talk to that say, man, if you're a good worker, that dude's gold, they also say it is very, very hard to fire people these days.
That's very
And again, my little text chain, we have this joke about the work from home thing because there's this ongoing argument about work from home versus go into work, and it's kind of 50-50 based on what you do in this particular thread. But it's kind of funny because last year, one of my buddies who's super smart, and he's worked from home, but he's very productive. Like for this guy, it would not matter if he's in work or at home. Like he'll make jokes. When he's forced to go into work, he'll take a picture of the cubicle farm, and it's 10 dudes like him that are all wearing a vest in the cubicle farm. He's like, hey, you can't get this culture anywhere. It's all about culture. He's like, I make the same exact money at home. But the funny thing is one of my other buddies that lives by him was driving by his house during the day when he was working from home and he was leaf blowing.
Oh, yeah.
So he took a picture of it. So this is now the joke that, dude, all you do is leaf blow. But he's super smart. Like, I promise you, this guy is banking. But when he has an extra 45 minutes in between emails, he goes and blows his leaf.
Isn't that nice, though, to be able to do
It
that?
is.
I know.
I have a buddy who works for, I forget what he does, but he runs a department. He's a honcho. And he said that it's tougher to team build when you're doing it remotely. And he said that it impacts their efficiency.
Big time.
He said it because you kind of get to know who's good at what as a manager when you're kind of delving out a project, who's going to be doing what. And he said, especially after the pandemic, some people moved on and everything was like for a long time they had new hires that no one knew but knew them from the remote stuff. He said it had a big impact in the negative way, and that being in the office, even if it's 3 days a week, is a big plus. You kind of want to get to know the people you're working with.
I get that, and I think there's certainly a debate to be had about all of that. I do think that you're talking about a lot of companies, though, that had these leases already, and I think when these leases are up, they're going to change their tune on that. When they realize they can save tons of money, I think you're going to see a lot of changing of the
abandoned buildings, too.
That's already happening.
Big time.
By the way, I feel very bad if you're a company and you have a 5-year lease. I get it.
Oh, man.
And I understand right now justifying that. I also think that on the back end, 5 years from now, they're going to look and say, hey, actually, if we don't need this office space and everything to go with it, and our guys work from home more, we actually be more profitable. Yeah. I could see that kind of changing. We're already seeing all these buildings downtown that are
empty.
They're being changed into residential.
Yeah.
In New York,
still
I
empty.
just read
Yeah.
foot traffic in Manhattan, foot traffic, people walking around, down 33%. You can point to, I don't know, crime or whatever, but I got to think a lot of it is people working from home that had to make that trip into Manhattan, and that's got to impact a lot of businesses too. Like if you are in an area that has office buildings and half the people are gone, and you run like a little corner deli or something, that's going to impact you in a huge way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it also impacts the employees, where the employees that don't have to commute an hour each way, that don't have to sit in their car, that don't have to waste their gas, that don't have to spend money on lunch. Like, there's a balance. Like, if you want the top talent's going to want something that makes their life more enjoyable. Of
course.
And there's nothing enjoyable about sitting in traffic for an hour and a half to work each day. And it's a waste of time. Can't spend time with your family. Gas is expensive.
Can I just
I'm
say
going to start
this?
doing the show from home.
I'm not
But that's different, though. But that's totally different. See,
No, it isn't.
No, it is, because there are jobs. Everyone in this room would agree. A radio show is not the same if you're not in the same room.
Listen,
Am I right?
I commute to this show, and I don't complain about it. All right, I know it's a challenge, but that's part of the deal. This place is a long way from home, but I still make it here on time every day.
But Cam,
Takes me 6 minutes.
but Cam's got to go 50 minutes each way. That's a big commitment. Your commitment is way bigger than mine.
It's all good.
No, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, I know.
for
No, I know.
people, this is a job.
True.
This is a job where I'm saying
Right.
there is certainly value to be in the same room on a radio show.
100%.
There are a lot of jobs where it doesn't matter.
Have you ever had to commute far?
Not more than about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you live in Central.
When I
Zone.
was living at home, I worked at a radio station on Long Island,
Oh, God.
and
That's god awful.
and it took over an hour sometimes.
Probably, yeah.
And to get from where I was, sometimes an hour and a half. Other times, now going to work, it wasn't that bad. But when you were done with your shift,
Get me home.
you just want to get home.
Long
and then
Island
there's
Express.
traffic. Yeah.
Oh, God. You got to. Living in New York ages you. Living in that area ages you if you're trying to go commute in and out of work, dude. It is. There's nothing like it, man. If you live out there consistently for years, like it's tough, man, to travel. Even like 7 miles sometimes. Like you don't know. Like it might take you 10 minutes or it might take you an hour and a half. You just don't know. You kind of know what you got here for the most part. 270, 44, 270, 40 here, blah, 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 blah. There's a couple spots, but it ain't nothing.
Nothing.
It ain't nothing. Ages you. Ages
If
you.
I worked on Long Island, I mean, if I lived in Long Island, on Long Island, and then had a job in Manhattan, I'd want to work from home. I mean,
It's crazy. It's crazy. You guys inspire me. I need to praise my employees a little bit more often. Chef Todd, you damn right. If they're working for you, man, sometimes you don't appreciate until
They leave.
they leave, and you're like, what? I got to fill this void? Whoa, damn, he was pretty good.
but don't praise the workers that don't believe in a team concept and are constantly looking out for themselves, like you know who.
The evaporator.
Bad body language.
By the way, also, there's a lot of people, me included, the last 5 years. Just because you're at the office doesn't mean you're working.
Ding, ding, ding.
There's a lot of people sitting around doing nothing. By the way, if you're running a company, do you want your sales staff to be in the office? Or do you want them out and about? Or if they're making calls, does it matter if they're at their house? Like, just because you're in the office doesn't mean you're working. I'm telling you, the last 5 years at Fox 2, I was there. My body was there.
But your soul.
My brain wasn't there.
But don't you have slots to fill? Like
Yes.
Like I always had every day at baseball, I have things that I have to take care of, slots to fill. If I don't get them, then it's like, what are you doing? Or if they're crappy, I'm going to hear about it. You know, like, so it's on me. There's no one else. I can't blend in or say, oh, I'll get to that paperwork on Tuesday. Like, my job is every day, coal into the fire, coal into the fire.
I get you. I get you.
But there are a lot of jobs where their 8 hours is like a series of 5 meetings. You know, it's a 9 o'clock call, an 11 o'clock call, a 1 o'clock Zoom, a 2 p.m. call, a 3:30 meeting. Whereas the rest of the time, you're just sitting there on your social media.
Through rain, sleet, snow, and ice, Hockey Bob will get you wherever you need to be for a price. Yeah, we know.
For a price.
We know. And I'm not going to drive with you whenever it's sleet, snow, ice, any of that.
But that's a valued job. And that's why those fees are high.
He's busy.